Okay, hopefully this improvising stuff is going well for you. I sent you a video just now, just with the entire chord progression for New Coat of Paint, the F minor, B flat 7, D flat 7, C7 for practicing with. You can practice the chords and or just improvising with those. So let's talk about all four chords now. So the chord progression is basically, hopefully you're very familiar with it by now, F minor, B flat 7, D flat 7, C7. So the first three times that happens, the phrase ends on the C7. It's like this. Okay, so that's one time through, then it's going to start again. So it's ending on this C7, and then it does that again 2 more times. And then on the final phrase, it does ends on the F minor. So the fourth time, the fourth phrase ends on the F minor, or we could call that the 1 chord. The other 3 times prior to that, it ends on the C7, and we could call that the 5 chord. So why am I mentioning that? Okay, so let's pretend we're just randomly jamming on the pentatonic scale with some understanding of what we're doing, because we've been talking about that. But we know that that phrase is going to end on that C7 chord the first 3 times. So if we look through the pentatonic, we see that there's 2 notes in that pentatonic that are in the C7 chord. The C, obviously, and the B flat is the other note. If you look at the C7 chord, you see your C there and your B flat there with your pinky. And both of those notes are in your pentatonic that we're using. So what we would want to do, just to make sure that we're on track and understanding and having a feel for where we are in that progression, when we get to that C7 chord, let's try to either end on the C note or the B flat note. Either of them will work. The C will sound right at home. The B flat will create a little bit more tension, but it is nonetheless in the chord. So what I'm saying is, if I'm going to play a phrase, when I get to that C chord, I'm going to try to be on that note. And there I might also take a breath musically. Something like this. Right there. Right there. So the first time I ended on the C, second time I ended on the B flat. Okay? And we want to try to do that the first 3 times through. And let me just take a step back and reiterate that you really want to know where those chords are. You want to be able to hear those chords while you're jamming. You want to know what chord is playing, because you want to have an intelligent approach and an aware approach to your improvising. That's really the only way that it can be gratifying, is if you understand where your foundation is. It's like I said, it's like building a house. If you're building a house, you have to know where that perimeter of that foundation is in order to set your plate and build your wall. Okay? Well, it's the same thing. If you don't know where those edges are, your wall could end up off the side or in some ridiculous place that doesn't make sense. And it's the same with your improvising. So you want to know, you want to have a feel when you're listening to that chord progression in the background, where those chords are happening. So keep that in mind while you're playing. While we're talking, I'm going to bring up that video so I can play over that. Okay, now the last time, as we said, it's like this. Okay, it ends on that F minor. So in that case, in order to have a strong ending, we'd want to end on one of the notes that's in that F minor chord. And this pentatonic that we're using is mostly made up of notes from the F minor chord, the F, the A flat, the C, and the F, and also this A flat up here. There's a little F minor chord right there that we see in the F minor bar chord. So while we're jamming through that, okay, I ended on that F for a strong ending. I ended on that A flat that time. Once again, it's in that F minor chord. It'll provide a strong ending. And I'm also making a point of, at the end of each of these 4 chord progressions, I'm making a point of kind of stopping there to emphasize the importance of sometimes pausing and breathing musically while you're jamming. It's a very important concept that's often ignored while people are learning to improvise. See if I can bring that up real quick. Here it is.
Okay, this is just going to be...
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Okay, so there it is playing. That ended on C. Ended on C for the 3rd time. Now this time it'll end on the F minor right here. F minor, then it starts again. Ending on that C. That time I ended on the B flat. Ended on the C. This time the F. C once again. C again. C, next time F. C. C again. That time I used the B flat. Then the F again. C again. B flat that time. Next time the F. Okay, so I hope my point was relatively clear. In this particular lesson, I'm not really focusing so much on the different ideas that we can use when improvising. My main point in this lesson is to stress having an awareness of the chords. In this case, the final chord in each phrase. 3 times it's the C, and the last time it's the F minor. I can't stress enough how important it is to be aware of that. And if you're not aware of it, you just need to listen to the chord changes And make yourself aware of that as you're playing through it. F, B flat, D flat, C. We're keying in on that C, which happens 3 times, and making sure when we get to that C, we're going to either use this C note because it's in the chord, or the B flat note because it's in the chord. We want to be aware, and also both of those notes will sound best in that particular situation. That isn't to say in the future, when you are totally aware, that you can choose a different note that might create a little bit more tension. But before you do that, that's kind of the walking phase, the running phase. This is the walking phase. You want to make sure that you can walk. So I hope that that's clear, and that you can practice this phase of improvisation with that in mind. Okie doke, we'll leave it at that for now.